Yes, Arun, we can start.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I am here to present my internship project presentation on development of production order and performance tracking system in PTC ThingWorks IIoT platform, which is undertaken at IIT Delhi AI Foundation of Smart Manufacturing from 2021. I would like to take this opportunity to extend my sincere thanks to the IAFSM for offering me a unique platform, learn exposure, and garner knowledge in the field of smart manufacturing. I would also express my deep felt gratitude to Dr. Sunil Jha, Director IAFSM, and my project director, Mr. Kumar, Engineer IAFSM, for their guidance and inspiration, moral support, and timely advice. Coming to the executive summary of the project, the problem statement given: develop a pilot application using ThingWorks IIoT solutions platform to showcase its capability, achieve few of the objectives micro manufacturing facility under the Cyber Physical Factory project. The project goals is to develop production order and performance tracking system for machine in ThingWorks IIoT platform, create and maintain master data like customer data, product part data, and production order. Create, plan, and track the status of production job. Maintain details of production time, setup time, downtime, stoppages, parts rejection, parts rework against each production job. Analyze the cost of downtime, stoppages, parts rejection, parts rework using Pareto chart. Calculate and visualize using charts the various performance metrics like machine's overall equipment effectiveness, which is OEE, machine utilization, parts production performance, MTBF and MTTR of the machine. Project scope. In the IAFSM micro manufacturing facility, more than 25 machines will be integrated across the workshop, create manufacturing line. Under phase 1 of the micro manufacturing facility project, the various machine tools considered are lathe machine, bearing machine, CNC turning center, and CNC milling center. For this project, development of production order and performance tracking system, I have considered the legacy machines, that is the lathe machine and shearing machine, since they are traditional PLC, where the tags can be or will be configured. Since ThingWorks is flexible and purpose-built for IIoT, it is easy to clone and modify devices that are either identical or similar when changing from a pilot program to scale business. Hence, this pilot application or project can be extended to other machines micro manufacturing as and when details of the other machines are available. Let me start with some of the basics of IIoT and ThingWorks before moving into my implementation. So as most of you will be aware of, the Internet of Things describes physical objects that are embedded with sensors, processing ability, software, and other technologies referred to as a thing, and that connect and exchange data with other devices and systems for the Internet. The Industrial Internet of Things is abbreviated as IIoT. The IoT application is IIoT refers to interconnected sensors, instruments, and other devices networked with computers, industrial applications, including manufacturing and energy management, using cloud computing, define and optimize processes. Coming to the ThingWorks IIoT platform. As per the Industry Internet of Things Consortium, IIoT platform is defined as a technical system that provides a range of enabling services to support the delivery of IIoT applications. The ThingWorks Industrial IoT Solutions platform offers a rich set of capabilities that enable powerful solutions for design, manufacturing, services, and industrial operations. Flexible and purpose-built for IoT, ThingWorks empowers industrial enterprises to digitally transform every aspect of their business with innovative solutions that are simple to create, easy to implement, scalable to meet their needs, and accelerate time to value. Industry leaders turn to ThingWorks for end-to-end capabilities. That is, it has various capabilities like connect, build, analyze, manage, and experience, enabling them to address every facet of their digital transformation journey. Out of this, in this project, I have used the build capability of the ThingWorks platform And the application or the software used is the ThingWorx Foundation. What is ThingWorx Foundation? ThingWorx Foundation is dedicated to developing scalable and safe IoT, gives build capacity of the ThingWorx IoT platform. It comprises of major components, Composer and Mashup Builder. Composer is an integrated application development environment and enables comprehensive data synthesis, efficient service authoring, and easy application management. Use Composer to configure and deploy the Thing model. So this Composer is where we will be building our Thing model, which can be used in the mashups by using the mashup builder to give a graphical user interface to the users. So what is mashup builder? Mashup builder is a low-code drag and drop environment, enables creation of graphical UIs for mobile and web IoT applications. Mashup builder comes with 90 plus people visualization widgets that can leverage to accelerate time to market. Mashups, as I have already, is a graphical user interface that ties to entities and their functions. So let us see some of the basic definitions or the entities that are available in the ThingWorx, which will help us in understanding data model of ThingWorx. So projects are used to organize various entities within ThingWorx. Entities that are collected in projects can be exported and imported together. An entity can belong to only one project. Things are representation of physical devices, assets, products, systems, people or processes that have properties and business logic. All things are based on thing templates from which it inherits and can implement one or more thing shapes, which has a set of characteristics of the things. Thing shapes. Thing shapes provide a set of characteristics represented as properties, services, events, and subscriptions. So we will see what these are in the coming slides. Across a group of physical assets, thing shapes promote reuse of contained properties and business logic that one or more thing template can inherit. Thing templates. Thing templates provide base functionality with properties, services, events, and subscriptions that thing instances use in their execution. Everything is created from a thing template. So you can see this is the structure of the thing shape, thing template, and thing how it is modeled in ThingWorx. Thing templates employ a linear relationship, while thing shape employs a modular relationship. So from this diagram, you can see how the relationships are built. So you can see there is a linear relationship in the thing templates, and there can be modular relationship in the thing shapes. How data model can be compartmentalized into thing shapes and thing templates to create the actual things will be used as a customized design that will be specific to each implementation. Each project and application will have its own idea behind how the data model will be, and I will explain how I have done that in my project. So coming to thing properties are used to describe the data points that are related to a thing. For example, a customer may have a name property and address property. A truck may have properties like driver, capacity, and location. So these are the properties of things. Then coming to the services, thing services are functions that a thing can perform. Each thing can have one or more services. Services can be defined at the thing shape and thing level. So if it is defined in shape or template, things which inherits those shapes and templates. Thing events. Events are interesting or critical property states that the thing publishes to subscribers. So subscription is nothing but it is a type of service which gets triggered when a particular event occurs. Events are initiators to kick off some functionality in a subscription, which is a triggered service. Thing alerts. Alerts are a particular type of event and they are used to publish and subscribe mechanism. Alerts allow defining rules for firing events. All properties in a thing shape, thing template, or thing can have one or more alert conditions defined. So these alerts are nothing but the rules which we define for the properties. Whenever that rule is getting satisfied, an alert is created. And when an alert is created, you will have a publish and subscribe mechanism happening, which will trigger the subscriptions which are subscribing these alerts. Think subscriptions. Subscriptions are services that receive and respond to a event. A subscription has a source, usually a thing. A thing can have a subscription to an event that responds with action. For example, if an entity fires a motor is overheating as an event, you can subscribe to that event by triggering turn motor off. The small what subscription and event is and how it is. The diagram below shows the various intricacies involved between the properties, events, services, and subscriptions in ThingWorks. And using these, we can develop our business logic. And these are some of the data storages available in ThingWorks. The first is the data table. I have extensively used the data tables in this project. Store various tables like a downtime table, stoppage table. So every detail is available in data table. So what is a data table? A data table is similar to a standard relational database table, but differs significantly in performance. A data shape defines the columns or fields of the data table. There are many built-in services for getting data in and out of the data tables specific to the data table shape. Streams. Streams and value streams are the other storage types available in ThingWorks, but it is not used in this particular project. So I'll skip this. Coming to ThingWorks mashups creation in Mashup Builder. So what are mashups? Mashups are web page visualizations that are used to deliver information from the ThingWorks model. Menus. Menus provide navigation paths within mashups. The menu is created and defined, and then it is added to the mashup to implement a menu within a mashup. So from one particular mashup, you can navigate to different mashups by use of this menu. Mashup Builder. The Mashup Builder is the tool used to create the visualization web pages in ThingWorks and is where individual mashups are defined. The Mashup Builder is designed to be used by a content developer who knows the implemented ThingWorks model. So whoever is developing an application in Mashup Builder, he should have the entire knowledge of what ThingWorks model has been developed in the Composer so that it is getting integrated and the required solution can be built in Mashup Builder. Widgets. ThingWorks widgets are the visual components of the ThingWorks mashup pages. A widget can be an advanced data renderer, such as a chart, or more of a useful component, such as a button or a navigation link. Data rendering widgets have incoming data bindings. When a data service is executed, the data result set is bound to the widget rendering. Other widgets, such as a button, may not have incoming data binding, but may have an outgoing event binding. So here I have explained to understand the incoming data binding. For example, we saw there are different data storage types in ThingWorks like data tables, streams, and values. So these are data bindings. These data bindings can be bound to a widget like charts or the grid, wherein you can use them for displaying those data table. And similarly, there are other widgets such as button, which don't have such incoming data binding, but they have event triggering bindings. For example, the clicked event of a button widget can be bound to the data service. So these click events can be or bind the other services which are available within the ThingWorks, or you can also create custom services which can be triggered using these buttons. So these services and events are extensively used in my project, which we will be seeing in the demo part of the presentation. The widgets can be dragged and dropped to a location on a mashup. All widgets have properties for configuring the specific widget instance on a page. Many widgets have events in addition to the property. Events can be used to fire data services. In addition to all these things, there are functions which are available in the mashups. When designing a mashup, functions can process and validate input from data services and widget properties. Each function has many bindable properties or parameters that can be bound to widgets and data services within the mashup. So these are the various types of functions which are available. I have extensively used confirmation function in this project. There are other functions which are available by default in ThingWorks. Data services and bindings. In Mashup Builder, three panels provide data from the platform server. So whatever data model which is available in the ThingWorx Composer are available in the mashup this panel, which is divided into data, session, and user. There are different data services available on the ThingWorx platform. The most common data services are based on the model entities defined for the IoT applications in the Composer. Each entity has a standard set of services in addition to the custom service definition that have been implemented in the model. ThingWorx data services call data into a mashup and then render the data using a visualization widget. So this is how the data model which is created in ThingWorx Composer is fetched through the mashup builder through this data services and bindings function. Now coming to the methodology which is being told by ThingWorx to be followed when any IoT solution is being deployed. So there are 6 steps in this methodology. Step 1 is the user stories. Step 2 is data source. Step 3 is model breakup. Step data storage. Step 5 is business logic strategy. And step 6 is structure strategy. Let us see one by one all these steps. So step 1 is user stories. So user stories is nothing but identifying who all will be using this application and what information they need. By approaching the design from a user perspective, it is possible to identify what elements are necessary for the system. The first step of the user story phase of the design process is to identify the potential users of the system. In this project, the following are the user groups identified. So you can see I have identified system administrator, production manager, production planning and control, line supervisor, operator, and general. So this is the user story which I have defined for this project. So we can define as per our project requirement, we can define what will be the user story, and based on that, the access and permissions can be defined for the project. So this is one as a pilot project I have defined for each of the user group what will be the functional requirement and the information required from this application. Similarly, we can do for any project, and even for this project can be modified, and corresponding access and permissions can be modified as per the requirement of the users. Now coming to step 2, which is data sources. So this is in this step, we will be identifying what are all the real world objects and systems that we require to model. So to create a solid design, we need to identify the things in the system and what data or functionality they are required to be. So the first step is listing down what are all the things we require. So once the user requirements are identified, determine what parts of the system must be connected. These will be the things in the solution. The next step is the component breakdown. So component is nothing but the properties, services, events, and subscriptions which are required in each of the things is the component. Once a complete list of things in the system are prepared, the next step is to identify the information needed from each thing based on the user's requirement. The next step in the under the data sources step is thing component matrix. A thing component matrix is a grid in which things and components are tabulated in columns and rows respectively. So I'll show you the thing component matrix which I have developed for project. You can see the initial consideration was for all the 4 machines, and out of which all the details were available for the lathe machine and steering machine. So based on that, the various components are listed like alerts and subscriptions which are required from each of them, and whichever is relevant is made a cross mark against that particular machine. So this is called the thing components matrix. Going ahead with the step 3, which is model breakdown. In the model breakdown step, compose a representative model of modular components to enable usability and reusability wherever. Breaking down the use case into a data model is the most critical part of the design process in ThingWorks. So what is the breakdown process? So in the breakdown process, what we do is, it is here where the various things and what templates are required to be created and which are all need to be made as thing shapes and which should be made as thing template is decided in this particular step of the design process. So in the design process, there are steps. So prioritize the groups of components from the thing component matrix by each group's component quantity. So whichever uh, the components which are having higher repetitiveness is called prioritizing of components, and that is template is having large. Like that, we will be following iteratively this process to identify whether it should be made a thing template or thing shape. So this is the entity decision flowchart as given by ThingWorks. So this flowchart, once we pass each of the component this flowchart, we will come to know whether it should be shape or thing template. And based on this process, I have created this particular thing shape and thing template thing. So this is called the entity relationship diagram. So you can see the first assets thing shape. Will just take thing component matrix. So you can see these properties are common across all the machines which are available. These properties are combined as a thing shape and it is named as assets thing shape. And there are some properties which are common between the smart lathe machine and the turning machine. So this is grouped as another thing shape, which will be lathe machine thing shape. And these are the properties which are common for the shearing machine, and this will be made as the shearing machine thing shape. And the largest group out of this is all these alerts, properties, and subscriptions which are highlighted in green. So this I have made as the base thing template, and I have called that as legacy machine template. From the legacy machine templates, I have inherited two. So this is the legacy machine template. From the legacy machine template, I have inherited two different templates. One for center lathe machine thing template, and another is the shearing machine thing template. So this is the data model which I have created for this project, consisting of 4 thing shapes, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 thing templates, and the specific instances can be created. So whenever future expansion of this particular application is to be done for other machines, a similar data model will be there to replicate all these functionalities to the new machines which are added to the application. This file explains the entire ThingWorks data model, which has all the entities available, like the various data shapes, data table, mashup, menu, thing shape, template, which are defined in the project. So coming to the fourth step, which is the data storage step. So in this step, we need to identify the data sources, then evaluate how many different types of data are available, what they are, and how the data should be stored. From that, the data types and data storage requirements are determined. In this project, the data storage requirement, as I have earlier also discussed, that I had the various requirements of different data tables, and utilizing data table allow us to store and track all of these items within our application. These are the different data tables which are created for this project. So customer master data, downtime category, downtime Pareto data table, then parts rejection data table. So for each of these, I have created one data table. And for each of this data table, you need to define what are all the columns or the fields required. That is defined using the data shape. So these are the various data shapes for each of the data table which I have shown in the various. So for example, if you're taking customer master data table, have all these 6 fields. You'll have the customer address, customer email ID, customer name, and customer ID. So similarly, for each of the data table, the fields or the columns are defined using the data shapes. Moving on to the step 5, which is business logic strategy. In this, we will examine the functional needs and map them to the design for proper business logic implementation. So this is nothing but defining what are all the various alerts, services, subscriptions, events that are required for our particular uh, purpose or the objective of the application. So in this project, these are the 4 different categories of business logic which I have implemented. So the first one is alerts for submission. So this is nothing but whenever a particular submission is done. So submission is, in my case, for example, production time reporting or downtime reporting, all these are called submissions. So whenever a submission is done, it will the particular property of the particular thing will become true. So that I have defined as a alert. So I'll explain that when I'm showing the demo. You will be better understanding about the alerts there. And subscriptions for submission. So this subscription for submissions is the main coding wherein all the calculations related to the performance and production report are done. Then subscriptions for submission reason. So whenever a particular submission is happened, that submission so that the next alert is getting triggered. So for resetting, I have subscriptions. Then the next one is custom services for updating Pareto data table. So there is a widget called Pareto chart in ThingWorks, but it requires the data to be given in a particular field. For example, we need to give what are all the categories and what is the cumulative and cumulative value as input so that it displays the chart in the proper manner. So to extract from the down or the operation, I have used a custom service to extract those details as per the filter which we are applying. For that, this particular services are used. And mashups and menus of the project. So the various mashups and the menus which are defined in this project. So we will see more in detail when I am showing the demo, because whatever demo of the application is nothing but each of these mashups and the menus which I am going to show you. And the last step in the methodology is user access strategy. So this is nothing but giving the access to various user groups. So in ThingWorks, the security of the solution is given by visibility and permissions. The user's visibility and control over the IoT solution is defined using user access strategy. In ThingWorks, there are 3 types of permissions. One is visibility, the second one is the runtime, and the third one is design time. So visibility is all the entities visibility can be set. So if a particular user visibility is not set, that particular entity cannot be will not be visible for that particular user. And runtime is nothing but it gives all the access during the runtime. So when the application is running, it's called runtime. And design time is nothing but when creating. So as a developer, when we are all the access comes under the design time. These are the various types of permissions that are there, and we need to define for visibility, runtime, and design time for all the entities available in the application. So this access is given by organization, user groups, and users. So what is organization? Organization are hierarchical structures that allow the user to assign entity in the ThingWorks model. So visibility of all the entities in ThingWorks model is given by organization. So when a particular user is assigned under the organization and that organization is given visibility to a particular entity, then that particular user will get entity. Sure. User groups provide a role-based approach to permissions and exist to give similar users the same permissions across multiple platforms. So user group is nothing but a role-based approach. Like I have already, these are different user groups, I have considered for like system administrator, production manager, operator, line super. These are called user. So under each of these users have different. So each user of ThingWorks must be defined. The user can belong to any number of and can be assigned of rights and roles. So this is how the access is given in ThingWorks. So these are the various screens which are available, various mashups which are available, and how the access has been provided is available in this particular Excel sheet. I'll explain this also in the demo. Let us go to the demo now. Any doubts or clarifications till now? Am I audible and clear?
Yeah, Arun, you are audible, and I think it's clear to me. If there is any other question from anyone, we can pick it up.
I'll have a separate Q&A session also at the end of the project after this demo. So
Yeah,
let
yeah.
us go to the
Yeah,
demo.
so continue with the demo, and then we can go ahead. Yeah.
So open the web browser, and this is the URL for our application. It's nothing but server name and then ThingWorks slash this is our IAF space cyberspace. So once this URL is entered and when we press enter, this login screen appears. In the login screen, I have defined, as I already did, I have defined 6 different users, and under each of the users, I have created and their password. So system admin is the person who is given full authorization for access of all the menus and mashups. Since I am going to do a demo of, I am logged in as system admin. Once the username and password is entered, the application opens. Are all the various mashups are available. So let me take you of the mashup and pages one by one. First, customer master. So here we can create the customer master data. So as I explained with respect to the data table and data shape, so customer master has a data table and it has a defined data shape which has different fields that are required. So as I already shown you as an example, it has customer ID, customer name, it has customer type, customer email ID, customer address, and customer phone as fields under this. So all data tables works under similar kind of, will have different fields that is defined under a data shape, and that data shape is linked to the particular data table. So in this page, you can do customer master creation. Once the details are entered in this text box and you click on the create button, you will get a confirmation whether you want to create a customer data. Please click yes, then the data will click cancel, it will return back to the same. So now I am clicking yes. So you can see that the new customer data is created. This same page can be used for updating a particular record as well. For example, you require to update the customer, can select that particular line, click get data. So this data will get reflected into this editing option, and here you can edit any of this data. Now, when I click update, this updated data will get reflected to the respective customer ID. Once again, there will be a confirmation. If you click yes, it will get updated. If you click cancel, it will go back to the previous. So you can see that the customer phone number has got updated. Similarly, if you feel that you want to delete a particular customer ID, then you can select that particular ID. You can click on get data. Once again, it will get reflected here. If you click delete, it will ask for a confirmation. If you click yes, then that particular record will get deleted. So this is the customer master creation and update page. And similarly, there is a page for display as well. So here I have given different authorizations for different pages. For example, since I have logged in through the system admin name, or I am having access to all the customer master creation is given only to the planning of users. So that menu or page will be available in the planning process. If you are logging in other users, then particular will not be available. You will have only the customer master. So this is the customer master display screen, wherein you can see what are all the various customers available. So I will explain few of the features of the table in this page, and this is same for all the pages which are available, all the data which is available. So for example, I can use this search bar to search instantaneously. So since I typed company, whatever rows is having company, only those rows will be displayed. Once I delete it, it will automatically reset. So similarly, I can, for example, I want to rows which is having only parole, then only if you type parole, then it will get filtered only for that particular keyword which you are typing. It can also be reset using this reset button. And there are various filters available. So I can filter by name, because now you have only 4 records, so it is easy to see. When there are hundreds of records which is running, then this filter would be very much helpful. It has different conditions like which is exactly matching or starts with. So these are common for all the text. Whichever column for selecting here in the filter by, if it is a text column, then you will have the conditions related to text. And if it is a number column, then you will have different set of conditions with numbers. So if I want to filter by with whatever name starts with Hari and I give apply. So you can see the filter which we have applied, customer name, which is starting with Hari, and it is filtering the data table with only this particular.
Arun, which are these widgets that has been used to implement this?
Sir, this add filter is a filter widget, sir.
Okay.
1 second, I'll show that as well. The data filters.
Okay.
Base data field.
Mhm.
This has by default all these options available and built in it. So it is just a dropping of it and some configuration which we need to do in the properties, then you will have this available.
Okay. Fine. And this table that is representing data is what
It is a
exactly it
grid,
is? It's a
advanced
grid.
grid.
Okay. It's a grid. Okay.
So grid advanced. So
Grid
this is
advanced.
the, yeah. So
Okay.
there are some specific features of this data table as well. This
Mhm.
search, reset, all these things are part of the grid advanced features itself.
Okay. Great.
Under the properties, if you are configuring it, then this search and reset button will come. And
Mhm.
similarly, you can also select what are all the columns you want to display. Once you
Mhm.
right click this anywhere in the header, if right click it, you will have this option available. So deselecting it, that will get disappearing from the, only these three will be available. This can be done on runtime itself. This is
Okay.
for the user's benefit. He wants
Mhm.
only the customer ID and name and type and email ID. He can select only those and that will be available.
Mhm.
And the other option which I have given is this export display data. So once I click this export display data, it will give you an option to select the CSV file of this particular grid, whichever is displayed. So once I click this, it will get downloaded
Mhm.
and you will have all the various fields available.
Okay.
These are the standard of data table,
Mhm.
and these are what they are displaying. So this is one feature where you can take data from the data table to your local. These are the general features which is available in all the display pages. All the further display pages will have the similar function built into. So this is regarding the customer master. The next one is the product or part model creation. So here we are creating what are all the parts that we want to create, and the ideal part time and the expected setup time are which we are getting. This will be in our performance calculation production. The other functionalities are same. Whatever is explained in customer master, it can create product part, can update product part.
So we will be mainly storing the production related data about the part actually. Is that mean? So
Standard
time and
data, sir.
yeah,
Yeah,
standard data.
the
Okay.
ideal part time and the expected setup time are
Okay.
defined here, and
Mhm.
those can be changed as well.
Mhm.
But this is the place where the master data of the product or part is created.
Okay.
So this is for creation and update, and really you have another display. This demarcation of creation and display is because we wanted to authorization of a particular group of people, and in my case, I have given it the planning and control team. So only planning and control team will have access for this creation page, and all other users will not have access for the. Those are configurable based on the deployment and the user. We can restrict access and regarding the product and part model. The important point is the ideal part time and expected setup time we are getting from here, and this will be used for the performance. Now coming to the production order creation. So this is where the job order creation happens. Whenever there is a requirement for a particular production, then a job order will be created, the job plan time, shift, and what product or part is required, uh, and what asset we will be using for a machine we will be using for creating or producing that particular part. All those things are configured here. So during creation, the job order number needs to be set. This number should be a unique number. If it is if number which is entered here is already existing, then you will not have a new. So we need to see that job order number, because all our calculations, performance, everything is linked to job order number only. And once you select,
Arun, can we
yes,
have
sir.
this job order number system generated unique number? Because see, if we have this access to a user, I'm not sure what convention he will be following in generating this job order. So
Sir, I was
I'm not.
looking into auto generation of numbers, sir, and I have used certain auto generated numbers as well. It is called GUID in the ThingWorks. But the problem is it is a randomly generated 20 or 25 digits of
Okay, it is not following
combination
any
of,
sequential.
yeah, it is not a
Normally when we have
sequential
a
number.
SQL table actually, so if we put an auto increment, it will be generating number in an auto increment mode actually.
Yeah, maybe we can do one thing. We can code in such a way that this job order number should be automatically a sequence
Correct.
number.
Because
But
that way it's easy to maintain the uniqueness and a particular symmetry
yeah,
in the numbers actually.
so that can be done, sir. But we
Okay,
need to
okay, sure.
code for if at
Sir,
all that
this
is.
is Ravi Agarwal. Jha sir, please
Yes, sir,
just
please.
permit me to intervene.
Sure,
This
sir.
is a very important pivot wherein the job order number relates to the customer part, also relates to the inventory part, the goods part, which has a serious consequence on the ERP. So it should not be a random number, but it has to be characterized and then sequentially followed, because there's a whole basis behind that. Just as an additional information, I wanted to pitch in. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your. So, shall I continue, sir? Excuse me, sir.
From my side, yes.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So, when we select the machine or entity name, currently we have defined only lathe machine and shearing machine as part of our thing model. So, this can be selected. Once that particular machine or entity is selected, the asset ID is automatically picked up from the thing model property. And this list of product or part model is fetched from the part or product model data table, which we create and maintain as part of the product and part model. So once you select, so currently only 4 models have been defined in this application, so it is showing only 4. So once you select any one of it, it will automatically fetch the model name, ideal part time, and expected setup time from that particular table to here, so that it can be part of the production order. So other creation, updation, deletion, the procedure is same, whatever is explained customer. And whatever features explained in the customer master is also available in all these screens. So we have seen 3 pages: customer master creation, product part model creation, and production order. Now let us move into the operator console, which will be used by the operator for all the reporting. So production reporting, setup time reporting, downtime reporting, stoppage reporting, rejection reporting, and rework reporting happens particularly. So the first thing that needs to be done is select the machine. Once the machine is selected, the asset ID is automatically fetched. And this job order lists the various job orders which are available for that particular machine. So if I'm selecting sharing machine, I will get the list of orders which is linked to that particular machine. So once the particular job order number is selected, it will fetch the various details of the job order, like the job plan date, the job plan shift, the product or part model number, what is the plan quantity, what is the ideal part time, and the expected setup time. And Now let us go through each of the reporting separately. So the first thing is the production reporting. So here I have given two different types of production reporting. One is the manual reporting. Manual reporting is nothing but the production start and the stop time can be manually given by the operator. And the other is the auto pickup of the date and time from the current time of the server. So that toggle can be done by clicking this toggle button. Once I click this toggle button, all these fields become disabled, and you will see there are four buttons which are appearing. Just start, pause, resume, and so when I'm clicking the start button, the current time of the server will be considered as the time for start, and it will be pushed to the property of that particular machine. Pass reporting of production. So this pass function is, I have introduced this pass function so that for a particular job order, there is passing of production because of end of shift or end of day. That reporting can be done by the operator using pass. As I have earlier explained, subscriptions as part of this application. So these are all the various submissions. So when I am clicking this start button, you will have one subscription happening and code executed. And because of that coding only, the respective tables get updated. For example, for production reporting, you will see that the production time report and production order report, both these tables will get updated. So production time report will have the production start time, and the duration of production, and how many number of parts are during that particular. All those details will be available production time report. Let us go to the production time report and then come back so that some understanding will. So you can see, so for each of the job order, the details are picked up from the operator console page. You can see there is a production start time, production end time, and this duration is automatically calculated by means of the coding which is there in the subscription. And this actual quantity is also picked from the operator console page where the operator enters this actual. So you can see for certain job orders, there are two entries of production time. So this is nothing but when I click the pass button, one entry will be created, and when I complete the production and click the complete production button, another entry will be created. So as part of the production order report, it will be the summation of these two, which will be combined together as the overall operating time for that particular job order number. So those calculations are also part of the respective subscriptions only. So here also I have provided a provision to edit the production time report in case the operator has entered any details wrong in the operator console. I have given the authorization of editing this to the line supervisor. Can edit any of this entry, but he will be able to edit only the start time, end time, and based on this start time and end time, production time duration will have, and the quantity can be. This authorization is given to the line supervisor and the production manager. One more thing which we need to be careful about this is once the production complete is done, after that, if you are editing these entries, then it will not get updated in the production order report. So the procedure which we need to follow is first delete the production order report, then do this edit in this particular production time report, and then do complete production, that it gets reflected in the production order report, because all the performance calculations are from the production order table only. So now let us move back to the operator console and go to the next reporting. So we have seen about the production reporting. So production reporting updates production time report as well as production order report. And one more thing which it will update is production order table So you can see there is a job order status here. So by default, whenever a job order is created, this job order status will be pending. And whenever I am clicking the past production button, it will be changed to under progress. And whenever I am clicking complete production, this will change to completed. So currently you can see out of the 5 job orders, 4 are completed and 1 is pending. So all this update in table and creation of new entries in tables are done through the subscriptions which are available in the ThingWorx mode. I will show you that now. Can relate. So this is the legacy machine template. So under which these are the various alerts which I have created. So under properties, all these properties are there. So for each of the button or the reporting, for example, as we have seen now, we have seen there are 6 buttons which we have seen. So out of the 6 buttons, you can there is a production manual pass submission, production manual submission, production pass submission, production resume submission, production stop submission. All these submissions, I have created alerts. Whenever the value is changing to true, this alert will be created. And whenever this alert is created, the respective subscriptions which subscribe to these alerts will run. So for example, if you see production pass submission subscription, so the input is the alert, and the property which we are seeking or subscribing is the production manual pass submission property. So whenever this property becomes true, this alert is triggered, and whenever this alert is triggered, this subscription will be running. So inside this, only all the codings are done. I have explained that there will be update of the production order data table, job order status like under progress whenever pass is created, pass is clicked. So that will be done. All the production time data table update, that new entry, and all other production related calculations also done. So this is related to the production order report data table. I'll explain you the production order and the performance next minutes. All the calculations part happen through subscription. Now let us go back to the operator console. And coming to the setup reporting. So setup reporting also, I have given 2 options. One is manual setup reporting and another is auto reporting. So manual reporting is nothing but the start date and end date time will be manually entered. And once this report manual setup button is clicked, then setup report. Or when it is done through auto mode, you will have separate buttons for setup start and setup complete. And when this button is clicked, current time, date and time of this start time when you are clicking this and end time when you are. So this setup reporting will update the setup report data table, which is available here under setup time report. Here also you can do any number of setup reporting for one particular job order number, similar to production reporting. For each of the reporting, you will have one indicator in setup time report data table. And this setup time duration is automatically calculated by means of the subscription by subtracting the start time and the end time. So for this setup time data table also, I have provided a edit option in case the operator has given any entry, wrong entry in the operator console. Then the line supervisor or the manager has the authorization for this page, wherein they can change the start time and end time so that the change. And here also the same thing, before the complete production order, all these changes needs to be done, or else not get captured in the performance. In case find there is some fault in the operator entry after the complete production, then you need to delete the production order entry for which the authorization is done. And the manager, after deleting it, then all the process can be done to capture the actual entries and the data. Now going back to the operator console, coming to the downtime reporting. So downtime reporting also, you have the start time, end time. You have various category. This category is configurable as per the user. So that I have created a separate data table for downtime category. So whatever fields you are entering there, it will get reflected in this particular dropdown. Similarly, there is a downtime type. So I have configured planned and unplanned. So once this report downtime is clicked, you will have a new entry created in the downtime data table. Here also the downtime duration is automatically calculated under the subscriptions based on the start and end time. And this is the data table for it. And all other features which are earlier explained in the customer master display is applicable for this page as well. Here also I have provided a provision for editing a downtime report, client supervisor and manager, if at all any entry has been wrongly entered operator. And another function which is available under the downtime is the downtime Pareto, which can be used for analyzing the various downtime categories. So for this particular downtime Pareto chart only, we have created one new data table which will accumulate or aggregate all the data against each of the category, and it will give it as input to this particular chart in the runtime basis. So why I say runtime basis is whenever I am applying any filter, this filter will be applied to the downtime data table, and that data table output is given as the input for a service, and that service aggregates all the data, and that data is created in another data table, and that data table is linked to this particular Pareto chart. This was one of the challenge which I faced as part of this project, and it took me 1 or 2 days to identify how it can be done and how the coding can be done. And this service is available, which is a custom service which I have created against the. So this is the downtime Pareto data table. So under that, under services, I have created a custom service. So this custom service has one input, which is downtime data. This downtime data is nothing but after applying a particular filter, whatever output is given or extracted from the downtime data table, that is given as in particular service. And in this service, all the aggregation is taking place. For example, all the downtime duration of a particular category is summation of all this data is done, and it will give us output as a single value. So this was required to be done because the Pareto chart widget takes in only this as in, so that it will give the output as desired. So whatever data currently is available in the downtime table, for that this is the Pareto chart, and here you can apply any filter to this. For example, you want for a particular asset ID, you can see that now whatever Pareto it is displaying is for downtimes against the asset ID LM001, which is nothing but lathe machine 001. So such filters can be applied, and the Pareto can be analyzed for respective machines. You can also add other filters like downtime start within the last how many hours or how many months or how many years. So such filters also can be applied, which will be helpful to do analysis of the downtime against the downtime category. This is the downtime. There is a similar function for the stoppage reporting. Most of the fields are same for the stoppage reporting as well. Whenever we are doing stoppage, a similar stoppage time report data table get updated here. Stoppage time data table have the same options for display and edit, for which the authorization is given only to the line supervisor and manager. And you can also analyze the Pareto for the stoppages based on the stoppage category.
Arun, in earlier Pareto, these names below the histogram, na, this is not coming properly, because this is fine actually, because it's in now
Sir,
horizontal there, it is
yeah.
vertical actually.
This property currently it is set as auto. So since the
Okay.
number of
This one actually.
it is showing like this. If you are bringing the arrow here, it will be visible.
Okay.
Or else there is a provision we can change this by showing it inclined as well. That can be changed. This
Okay.
configurable in the property of the Pareto.
Yeah, if
Since
you
it
can
is-
make it inclined, will be better actually.
Yes, sir, yes.
This is something could be visible actually. Yeah.
I'll do that, sir. It can be
Okay,
done.
okay,
It is only a
okay.
single property change in the
Yeah, that will be good.
Pareto chart. So here, since the number of categories are less, it is showing it complete. Since there space was not available for horizontal display, it is automatic change it to vertical. But in vertical, the space is not available to show. So I'll change that.
Correct. Yeah, okay.
Now going ahead with rejection report, which has rejection date and time, the number of parts to be rejected, and the rejection category. So this rejection category is also configurable as per the user requirement. It has a separate data table for rejection category. Whatever columns text you are entering there, that will be available. So once the report rejection button is clicked, we'll have a subscription running at the back end, and you will see that the parts rejection data table gets updated. This is the data table for rejection. So these are similar functions. Have display where everyone has access to. And for edit, authorization is restricted only to line supervisor. And then you have a parts section Pareto as well, wherein you can analyze for what reason the parts has. Parts rework reporting is also very similar to the rejection reporting. You will have the rework data, date and time. You will have number of parts rework, and then you will have a category for selecting why what has happened. And you have a separate data table for parts rework. Have display edit and Pareto of the individual data tables. Main data table production order, wherein all the calculations of performance is taking place. So here you will have all data aggregated against a particular job order number. So you will have one entry for each job order number particularly. So the first column is job order number.
So if I select any one, can I see the details appearing in a vertical fashion apart from a row? Because
no, sir. Currently, it is not
okay, like
configured that way. We can see individual details going to the respective tables. For example, production time report and production time report for that particular job
against a particular job order number, as you are showing summary over here. So I was just looking
sir, here,
at that.
whatever update, this is a separate data table. So this data table is having data which is aggregated from the other data. So a tree display might not be possible in because whatever entry that we are updating in this field is already aggregated and data.
Mhm.
Individual details are available respective
Okay.
other data. For
Mhm.
example, production time, setup time, stoppage time.
Mhm.
So for each of this job order number, details will be available in those data.
Mhm.
For example, there are 2 or 3 downtimes for under job order 001. Then
Mhm.
we need to go to the downtime data table. What are all the downtimes?
Okay.
Here it is aggregating and it because this table, this purpose was to calculate the performance.
Mhm.
That is how I have gone.
Okay, fine.
So here the production start time and the stop time. Start time will be the first start time which we are doing because whenever you are passing the production, you will have 2 or 3 production times repeated. The first start time will be start time here and the last stop time. And the operating time will be the summation of durations of individual repeats. So for example, there are 2 or 3 production times repeated. The summation of each operating time is what is repeating under the operating time. An ideal part time was picked up from the part model, product part model, and the actual part time is calculated using the formula in the subscript. Planned quantity is picked up from the job order, production job order data table, and actual quantity, the aggregation of or summation of the quantity under different production times from the production time.
So these numbers are actually left aligned actually. They are not coming
Yeah, that
properly.
can be
So yeah,
configured, sir.
yeah,
Currently,
yeah.
all the alignment is done as left alignment. I'll check that, sir. But
Yeah,
those
some
are
but time
configurable.
and other things are rightly aligned, but only these numbers are, I think it's a left aligning. That is how.
That is configured, sir. Configurable,
No.
sir. Can I
Okay.
make everything center aligned? That would be
Center
okay.
align or left align? Numbers are normally left. Sorry, right align will be good actually.
Okay, sir. I'll change
Numbers,
that.
numbers right align will be fine.
That can be done, sir. I'll do that. So total OK quantity is calculated with the formula actual quantity minus rejection quantity. That is how you are getting. And rejection rate is calculated by total rejected by total actual. Since out 5 plus so similarly, expected setup time is picked from the product part model master data table. And actual setup time is summation of all the setup times for that particular job. And the setup count is also calculated based on how many setup entries are data table. For downtime also, how many entries are there in time data table, that is taken as the downtime count. And the further classification, we had 2 classifications. One is planned time and another is unplanned downtime. So that individual aggregation is also extracted from the main data table using filters and sorting in the coding part from the JavaScript. Or stop. Then MTBF and MTTR are through the formula. So mean time between failures and mean time to repeat. Then availability, performance, and quality. All these are calculations which are done in the subscriptions of the legacy machines template. And from that, the overall equipment effectiveness is calculated and displayed. So all the calculations part is done in this table and it is updated through the subscriptions legacy machines template. And those subscriptions are triggered whenever past production or complete production reporting is being done. This is the production order. Next, coming to the performance report, whatever details that we are able to see here are shown in the visualization for better understanding of how it is happening. So this is for machine OE. So the x-axis here is the job order number. Why job order number is being tracked x-axis is whatever calculations that we are doing is based on the respective job order, because our machines are not going to run, cannot take entire time available as the base. So whatever operating time is considered as here. So because of that reason, all the performance is linked to the respective job order, and that is why all these performance charts will be displaying job order number as x-axis and the respective y-axis. So this chart shows available performance quality and as a line graph, and you have options select or deselect what you want to display. Right? If you want to track key, then others can be deselected and only one can be selected. And you have filter option as can filter for a particular asset type, for a particular shift, or a particular job and date. All filters are out. And the filters are there for OE as well. So you want to display only all OE which is less than 75%, can apply that filter. All filtering options are available. This is the OE chart. The next performance metric is the part utilization. Machine utilization report, wherein the expected setup time, actual setup time, downtime, and stoppage time are displayed. This chart can be used for a comparison purpose of setup time and for seeing how downtime has been distributed across planned, unplanned, and stoppages has been distributed across planned and unplanned. Here also you have the selection of can select or deselect the respective fields. Want to only compare setup time, can deselect all other things, so only the setup time will be available. You can compare what was the expected and against the expected, how much actual setup time has happened for that particular job. Moving again, section parts. So here the various performance metrics that are displayed or visualized, the ideal part-time versus actual time, was the planned quantity, actual quantity, and how many were okay out of it and how many were rejected. And here also you have the option to select and deselect the respective performance metric. If you want to compare only the ideal part-time versus actual part-time, only those can be selected and others can be. Last one is MTBF and MTBR. So here you will have the MTBF and MTBR displayed for sir, I was trying to link SPC, but I could not do it. I think it's having some issues because SPC has a separate project. It's not reflecting here. Even in my report, I have shown that as for showing the capability being explained. Excuse me, sir, am I audible?
Yeah, Arun, you're audible. Yeah.
So currently I'm doing SPC from this, but can be utilized for any streaming data, sir. So currently, even in my project, I am not showing any streaming data. So I thought I will remove it from the project. So even in report, I have shown that as explaining the capability alone with some of the screenshots which were available as part of the explanation in things. So this
That is okay. I
ends.
think that's okay.
So this is the end of the. Any questions?
Yeah, I think this
Any
is
feedback also?
I think that's perfect. I think I at least I appreciate the framework that you have prepared, and with a lot of flexibility in terms of the data that we can control at the back end. And because it's an IIoT platform, so any data what you are right now doing manually can also be plugged in through the IIoT directly. I think that is the unique capability that we had in this. Yeah.
This operator console, whichever I have done, I have prepared this page actually for explaining this entire thing. We can have this operator console in the PLC, and the tags are already available in the properties. So even my background programming of subscriptions are in such a way that whenever the property is changing, all these calculations, even if I'm using the operator console page from this application, and the input is coming from this system will complete.
No, I think it's a wonderful. Only thing I'm just looking at, because you have created such a nice framework. I'm just looking forward if we have to add any module to it further, or if I have to do some modification. I'm just asking anyone in FSM will be interested in understanding and just have a hands-on on that activity. That may be required, because tomorrow I would like to add the analytics part to this actually. So because ThingWorks Analytics is already there, if I would like to plug in another module over here, how that can be done. And probably we'll also be looking forward for the connectivity with the experience services and other. So I think it's really nice. I'm assuming that the report part itself is quite explanatory. So what I will do, I will share that report with those who are working in IIoT, especially Vishnu and Atul, those who want to learn at least the implementation part. And probably I look forward from you also, Arun Rajan, whenever we feel there's a help required, we'll get connect back to you.
Absolutely, sir. I'm always available. I'm eager to hear from anyone.
Yeah,
I will give my best.
Yeah. So Raviji, I think you got an idea basically on the implementation that has been done by Arun Rajan in 2 months. And I look forward, we should continue working on the same platform what he has created for the CP factory. And any suggestion or idea from your side, sir?
I really compliment Arun on laying this, I would say, very nice foundation on things. Elaborate as it is, I think very structured approach as also necessitated by ThingWorks, and how this whole pyramid has been built. However, I would like to add on as further activity or further polishing of what this work is going on is, there's a master production report, but within the report, when you define the team, the participants, that there is a line, there's a machine operator, then there's a line supervisor and a plant supervisor and an enterprise manager, whatever your actual configuration was, the reports and the consoles have to become unique in the drill up or drill down. That might be needed in the long run, and how the archiving of different reports gets done, how they are sorting, fetching, etc. gets done, and how under different alarm stages, not critical or critical alarms, I think flagging of that by colors or different notations might become handy. So I'm seeing it rather from an actual enterprise point of view, if you guys permit, because this actual implementation will morph into an enterprise implementation. And the access part of this, I'm more thinking also about the mobility part. I don't know if ThingWorks allows, if you are in deep drill down in terms of a machine and a drill up in terms of a line or a plant, the structure of the report, the structure of the consoles, if you are getting what I'm trying to convey, is a very important aspect in an enterprise. So my comments are more into taking it up further, but I really appreciate what has been done, and I think it's a very necessary part of the the build up we are attempting to.
Yeah, I
So-
also looking forward that because this momentum what Arun has created, we should continue working on this platform to mature it towards the completeness, and certainly the reports and other part can be worked further on this. I think good thing is that Arun has exploited very well the ThinkWorks capabilities actually, which we have not done too much till now. So we bring out a very nice representation of that data, the connectivity and the display part actually.
Indeed,
So,
yes, I really compliment for that.
yeah, correct.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Very much.
Arun, I just have one question because most
Yes.
of the time when we have IIoT deployment, we used to go in a model for a service actually. So right now what you have created is for FSM, but if I would like to serve this to any other company actually, so there is a model of a tenant actually. So I can create multiple tenants in my ThinkWorks environment, and I would be having the complete data structure or these pages different for different organizations actually. So if I would like to replicate the same for a different organization in the same ThinkWorks structure, do you have any idea how we can do that?
Sir, I have not explored in that way.
So in a
I'm
way,
not
if I
sure.
see that if I will just want one more copy of what you have done actually, and that will be running on the same platform with a different data structure and different data source connected to that, but the rest of the framework will remain same. So multiple instances of the same thing what you have created will be running simultaneously on the server. So that is what I'm just looking forward. We would like to have that, because if we will be the service provider for these solutions, maybe for MSME later on, how we will be providing that services to multiple organizations actually.
I'm not sure, sir. I need to explore because I have not looked it in that angle.
So fine, I think we will just explore that part. So that is one thing I think we will be looking forward, but I appreciate the time and the energy that you put into this project. It's wonderful. And I look forward that we will continue this momentum to mature it further. Yeah, that is very important.
Sure,
So
sir. Any help from my side? I'm always.
Certainly, because as we do more experiment and dwell into your, because right now everything is in your mind and you have just presented and put into the report, we would like to understand deeply and may require your help whenever we need some clarification or assistance. Yeah.
Sure, sir. I'll do whatever is possible
Good.
in the time, sir.
I think that is very nicely done. So what I will also recommend and suggest, because this is one of the good project that you have done even for yourself also, if you can connect back with some of the customer or a user of this, what you have done, maybe you can describe, you can explain and understand, and let's see that if he is willing to use this solution. So that
Sure,
kind of, because right now what you have done is an implementation from your mindset and whatever inputs we have given to you. But you can also identify in a suitable company who can feel that, yeah, this would be the useful platform that they would like to experiment with, or they would like to use it. So that will be giving you the practical connect with what you have done.
sure, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so any other question, Vishnu and Atul? So Atul, my suggestion is that because you are exploring that open source MES, and what you have seen that Arun has done is laid a foundation for the similar infrastructure actually.
Definitely, sir.
And so in that case, what the learning that you will be getting from that open source MES, because open source MES is again not giving that flexibility as we will get in ThinkWorks. That is the first thing.
Right, sir.
Another advantage that we will have in ThinkWorks is that because we have a direct data stream connected to it actually. So we will be having a full control on the data that will be coming into the platform and the different fields that will be getting updated.
Right.
So that is something because when I was going through that MES part and what I was understanding Arun's work, I found a lot of synergy in the two activities, and it could be a very grand outcome that if we can merge together actually on this.
I agree, sir. Definitely.
Yeah. And Vishnu, any input from your side?
Yes, sir. Like it was a good presentation,
Mhm.
and even he was explaining me earlier, like what
Mhm.
it has to be done, how it has to be done. So it has been a foundation for us, so that we
Mhm.
can now work on this for the first phase, and
Mhm.
then we can flourish more on this.
Yeah, correct. So only thing is that we can pick up one or two module which we feel they are appropriate, and may try to connect and put some data into that, or try to configure that information. That could be the first and experiment that can be done around it.
Yes, sir.
And Arun, how we can keep a backup of the whole system, if you can just suggest on that, so that any at any point of time, if something has gone wrong with the server implementation, we can again deploy the same thing.
These can be exported and stored in some other location so that it can be imported at any.
Yeah, so what I will suggest, because you have already deployed this, so please either you can just give a one-page write-up how to take a complete backup of this, and then may also explain to someone who can do this, or you can let me know also, because we would
Yes, sir.
like to
Sir, it's not
preserve this
very
copy. Yeah.
tedious.
Mhm.
It is not very
Mhm.
tedious. It can be done in a minute or two.
Yeah, so
I'll
you can
explain
just
that, sir.
give me the quick steps. Actually, that will be easy,
Sure, sir,
because I
sure.
would like to do myself. That will be helpful
Sure, sir.
for me.
I'll give a
Yeah.
page of write-up. Yes.
Correct, correct. Yeah, that will be good. That will be good. Good. I think that's a wonderful presentation and explanation. A compliment to you, Arun, once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And it's a wonderful internship that you have done with us. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. I think you have already given the report. Just send me the presentation also.
Yeah, I'll send this.
This
Sir.
one, yeah, this one, and maybe the minor corrections that I have suggested. If you can do that, that will be great.
Sure, sir. I will try to do it on Monday. I'm leaving
Mhm.
tomorrow to
Anytime,
Mumbai.
anytime you
Yeah.
feel comfortable. Yeah, it's not urgent now, so
Sure,
I
sir.
think it's good. So you will be joining Neti back now.
Yes, sir. I'm joining on tomorrow evening. I'll be in.
Okay, so now the other classes will be now going physically there.
No, sir. We'll be in the hostel, but the classes are starting online only.
Okay, okay,
Because
that
it is not
Mhm.
made mandatory that everyone should be available and join the camp.
Okay,
Because the
it's just
regulations
an
and
optional.
government, yeah, it is optional.
Mhm, mhm,
So since it is optional, they cannot go to